Hello everyone, my name is Carrie Walker and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we got all of my journals that I've already written in here and all of my empty journals here. A little uneven, but you know, we're gonna roll with it, it's okay. I haven't done a journaling Q&A in quite some time, so I'm really excited to do a part 3 of this video. And if you haven't seen the first 2 parts, make sure to go watch those. And also, if you think of any other questions that I didn't answer already, feel free to leave them in the comments down below and I will screenshot them and add them to my long list of journaling questions that I will eventually get to. You know, we're working our way through it. Also, I'm not sure if you saw this, but I have my little like UVA phone little pocket with my card in it. That's just like for my dorm. Obviously, I'm home right now, but I just have it on the back of my phone. The first question is, have you ever lost a journal? Do you write your email or something in your notebook so if someone finds it, they're able to return it? Do I write my, I think I write my phone number. 1 second. Okay, so this is my current journal. I don't know if you can tell, but the little string thing like broke out of it. So it's like coming out on both ends and I still just use it as like a little bookmark kind of thing. This one, I did not write my name or number or anything. I'm pretty sure I did in like these journals here. Let me check actually. Ugh, we gotta mess up the stack doing it for you guys. Okay, so like this one, I have my name. This one, I'm pretty sure in like these past 5-ish journals, I wrote both my name and phone number, so I do have that in these ones. I do want to start writing my phone number though, like in all of my journals. I should actually do that in my more recent one. I think the only reason is just because there isn't like a specific page where it was like, oh, write your name and contact information, because you know, you open this journal and it's just like this. But I do think that it is really good to have like, you know, your name and number or something like that, or your email, just in case, God forbid, you were to lose your journal. So I should definitely add my number into that journal. But have I ever lost a journal? No. However, I'm pretty sure that this blue journal here, I one time almost lost it. I brought it to the store when I was like out with my mom or something. I put it in like the baby seat of the shopping cart, you know. I guess it just slipped my mind to pick it back up when I left, and so we drove away from the store after, like, you know, we put the cart back up and we like grabbed our groceries and we left, and we were driving away from the store. We had like been in the car for maybe 2 minutes and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot my journal, or like I don't know where it is. I think I left it in the cart. And so we like raced back and I was so scared. I was like, holy crap, what is gonna happen? Someone stole my journal. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Sure enough, it was still right there in the same cart that I had left it in, and I don't know if I've ever had like a bigger heart attack than I did then. The next question is, do you usually write around people, like in public transports? I have taken my journal out before and like written at a friend's house or in the car. For the most part, like 99 times out of 100, I definitely write in my room. But yeah, I sometimes will bring it out with me, but usually I don't. I definitely used to bring it out a lot more when I was younger. Like I would put it in my bag and like bring it with me. Or you know, if I was going out with a friend and I was gonna get back late and like thought I might forget to write before midnight, then I would maybe sometimes bring my journal with me to write just in case midnight was approaching. Because again, I do have that rule for myself where I try to start writing before midnight. Nowadays, I just like write a sentence or 2 before I leave my house, you know, just in case I don't get back before midnight or like forget or something. Or I just like write earlier in the day and just get it all done before. I think that answers the question. Kind of got off topic there, but yeah. Has any of your notebooks gotten wet or broken? They've only ever gotten wet from my tears. That's really sad, but there definitely are some tear-soaked journal entries, which sounds sad again, but it's true, and I kind of like the honesty of the emotion. You know, I feel like it makes it even more special. None of my journals have gotten like wet to the point where the journal entries are in danger or anything. As for broken, there have been like a couple pages that have kind of torn and I just, you know, taped it up. Or, you know, like with my current journal with the string, but that's not really like broken, you know. Thankfully, haven't had any serious journal mishaps, and let's hope it stays that way. Okay, so the next question is, have you ever been bullied or teased because of writing in a diary, or just bullied in general? I don't think I've ever gotten made fun of for writing in a journal. I mean, like there's definitely been times where like when I was little, my siblings would be like, oh, you're writing in your diary or whatever, but like I feel like a lot of people have always just been really nice about it, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know that I journal so much until, you know, I tell them. But like I'm not like going around being like, oh yeah, I journal all the time, every single day, blah 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 blah. Obviously, you know, my friends see my YouTube channel, so that kind of like gets out. For the most part, I feel like everyone is like really supportive of it, you know? And that's maybe just because, you know, I've gotten older and a lot more people are able to kind of like recognize how journaling is something really important and special to me, and just like in general as a really cool thing to do. But yeah, I was never bullied for it when I was younger. As for being bullied in general, I've thankfully never been bullied. You know, obviously there have been like mean kids in the past, but nothing that I would consider like bullying. Okay, the next question is, do you often get asked questions like, can I read it? Or why isn't that just a waste of time? Yes, a lot of people do actually ask to read my journals. If I'm being honest, now it feels like more subscribers are like, hey, can we read your journals? Being like, can you make more reading my diary videos? Which is funny. Which, by the way, side note, yes, I will make some more of those. I don't know when my next one will be. I know I originally said 10K, but that was before I made the 5K part 2 reading my diary video. Honestly, I'm pretty much an open book. I have no problem kind of, you know, sharing some of those things. Obviously, I like to keep some privacy. I don't really have a problem with sharing my past journal entries. My one thing though of why I'm, you know, kind of holding off for a bit is just because my journals get recent really quick. I know I've said that before, but like this first journal took me 5 years to fill. And by the time I get to this third journal, I'm already in middle school, and my middle school was 7 through 12. So it wasn't just middle school, it was like attached to the high school. So I still have like a lot of the same friends from middle school and know a lot of them really well. So it just feels really recent, you know. It might just need to wait a little bit before I, you know, dive into that kind of stuff. But we'll see. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, getting asked about reading my diary. So you guys definitely ask to read it a lot, which I don't mind, you know, totally fine. But in real life, there definitely have been times, you know, where like my family's been like, hi, can I read what you're writing? And I'm just like, no, it's my journal. I feel like friends don't really ask to like read my journal, but they've definitely asked like, oh, have you ever written about me? And I'm always like, yes. Yes, I have. Which, like, honestly, probably is true. And then for the waste of time part of that question, I don't know if I've ever had anyone say like, oh, why do you journal? That's a waste of time. But I have had a lot of people ask me like, how do you do that? Because of how time consuming it is, especially now that I write every day, which I'm coming up on 4 years of daily writing. No one's ever like, it's a waste of time. I think people really do understand how valuable it is to have like stacks of journals and literally have your life written down. But yeah, people have just ever only really questioned like how I even come up with the time to do it. Okay, so the next question is, do you have to write in your journal or diary every day? No, you totally don't have to write in it every day. That's just my thing that I do. Like I said before, I've been daily journaling for almost 4 years now, which is really exciting and really cool. But you definitely don't need a journal every day. A lot of people do it, you know, like every week or so, every month or so, whenever they feel the need to write. Seriously, you can just do whatever works best for you. For me, I just like daily journaling. I think it's cool to look back on my day-to-day life, as well as just the other benefits involved with it, which I can maybe talk about in another video. But in sum, no, you do not have to write every day. The next question is, oh, there are 2 questions. Okay, should one write as if someone will read your journal, and do you let others fully read what you write? Okay, so for the first part, that is kind of an interesting question. Overall, I would say like yes and no, because you do want to write for yourself, but if it's in a sense of like understanding, I would say provide enough context in your journal entry so that if someone were to read your journal, it would make sense. Not because you want anyone to read your journal, but because if you ever like look back on your journal entry like 5 years from whenever you wrote it, you would want it to make sense. You'd want it to have some context so you kind of like understand what you were talking about at the time, so it's not just like completely random words that you don't even understand. Or even just like, I think about a lot whenever I pass away and pass my journals down to future generations of mine. I would hope that, you know, there's enough context for them to kind of get a clue of what I'm talking about, but I wouldn't write in the sense that you're like anticipating someone to read your journal entry, because I just think it's super important to try and be as honest as you can in your journal entries and write for yourself. And you shouldn't ever be writing for someone else. You shouldn't be formatting your journal entries in a way where you're scared that if someone reads your journal, you want to come across as this really amazing, spectacular person. Because personally, I just think it's really important to be honest with your journal and what you write, because not only does that help hold yourself more accountable, but it also just gives a more honest perspective of who you are as a person, which you definitely will value so much more later on. So I don't know if that answered your question, but kind of like overall, yes and no. In general, just try to provide context for things to make sense so you're not confused later on, but make sure that you're staying true to like who you are as a writer, as a journalist, and yeah. I hope that made sense. And then, do you let others fully read what you write? No, I don't. That sounds very terrifying. The thought of ever just like handing my journal over to someone and being like, here you go, read whatever. That sounds terrifying. However, there definitely are times where I'm reading back on an entry and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. I have to like share this with a friend of mine, or like, oh, I was writing about my family member and like I wanted to tell them what I wrote. So there are like times that I'll like share bits and pieces or certain journal entries, but I've never just been like, here's my journal, you can read everything. Okay, so the next question is, how many journals do you want to finish in the next 5 years? That's a good question. I feel like a lot of people always ask me about how many journals I'm filling up and how many I want to fill up. This year I'm only on my 3rd journal actually, which is because, as you can see, these are very large journals with like a lot of lines per page. And also I've been really busy this year, so I've only been writing like 1 page a day, whereas in some years I've been writing, you know, like 2 pages a day, or just like whenever I have more free time I'll try to write more. But anyway, I honestly don't know if I have a set number of journals that I want to fill up in the next 5 years. I think that like when I first started writing, I really loved the idea of filling up journal after journal after journal. And now that I'm on my 18th journal, I'm kind of like, where am I gonna keep them all? I'm starting a library over here, and you know, I take my journals with me to college just because I like keeping them with me, but like it's a lot to transport and I kind of like not filling up a ton of journals. So like, you know, next 5 years, if I filled up 3 journals a year, 15 journals, but at the same time there have been years I filled up 6 journals in a year. I don't know. I don't have a set number. I don't really care about how many journals I fill up or not. I care more about like the frequency of it, making sure that I journal every day for as long as that is like beneficial to me. And I also care about like the content of what I'm writing rather than how many journals I fill up. Quality over quantity. Okay, so the next question is, if you were out of ideas, like you literally don't have anything to write about, what will you do? I've never come across this. There have 100% been times that I am like, I don't want to write and I have no idea what to write about and I am super bored. But like, I always figure out something to write about to fill up the page, whether it's literally me just being like, I am bored, I don't know what to write about, I don't want to write, I just want to go to bed, and I'm just kind of like writing stuff like that. I would definitely encourage you guys to not be afraid to write about things like that, because not every single journal entry has to be this super spectacular, action-packed journal entry, you know? However, if you don't want to write about like the fact that you did nothing or that you can't think of anything, you can definitely look up journal prompts. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about my journal prompt jar that I have. Stay tuned for an exciting thing coming up for the new year. All I can say is I'm super duper pumped and I will be announcing it this coming Sunday probably. Other than that, you can also write about like different things on your mind. And then also sometimes if I really don't want to write at all or I can't think of anything, sometimes, you know, I like doodle in my journal, or I'll like write in like super giant letters and just try and fill up a page, and I'll just be like, anyway, I don't want to write right now, good night, goodbye. And yeah, that's that. The next question is, which one do you do more in your journal? Drawing, writing, or taping things into your journal? Definitely writing, by far. I go through phases where I draw more. Right now, I really haven't been like adding a lot of color to my journal entry. It's really just been me and my black pen. I love adding color, so I never know why I stop. I kind of like look back every so often and I'm like, man, I haven't been using color. Why haven't I been doing that? You definitely don't need to add color and stuff, but I just think it's so fun to like look back on like fun little colors and drawings and stuff like that. I also haven't been taping things in as much recently just because I haven't had a ton of things to tape in, but I do tape things in here and there whenever I do have something to tape in. The next question is, do you ever get worried that someone is going to check your journal, or are you open about it? I don't like the thought of people reading my journals. Again, I've never been like, here's my journal, have at it, read whatever you want. However, I don't go out of my way to like hide all of my journals. My family all knows that I like journal. I usually keep my current journal like right by my nightstand or something, and the rest of my other journals are like in drawers and on bookshelves and stuff. So I'm definitely not open about it, but I'm also not super paranoid about it, just because like I feel like if I make it into a big deal, then people will be more curious about it, you know? That's just for me personally. Like I feel like if I'm like, oh my gosh, don't read it, you can't like go near me while I'm journaling, then they're gonna be like, oh, she's writing about something super secretive, I want to know what she's writing about. But if I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm journaling, da 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 da, blah blah blah, okay, good night, then like people are less interested in it. I don't know. I just have tried to like not make it a big deal so then people aren't as curious about what the heck I'm writing about, because then they're less tempted to actually read it. Okay, so the next question is, do you write as if you're talking with someone else? Let's say you were writing your experience of hiking. You might write sentences, oh wait, I forgot to mention my dad also came and I'll finish the story after work. Yes, I do write like that. I kind of write as if my journal is a person. Like I'm not like, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you this. Like I don't refer to my journal as like a you, or like I don't have a name for my journal, which like if you do, totally fine. For me though, I definitely will just be like, oh, I'm about to go do this, I'll finish writing later, blah blah blah, and then I'll finish writing later. Or like I'll be talking as if I'm like sharing a story to a friend, but I'm never like referring to my journal as a you know? Does that make sense? So if like I was talking about my story of hiking, I'd be like, oh, I just went hiking with my friends and today it was super fun and we did this and blah blah blah. All right, and so I think this is gonna be the last question. Can you recommend any good journals or companies to buy a new journal from? Honestly, I'm still kind of experimenting with different journals that I like. However, one that I keep going back to, I've found that I really like these journals. They are just like different journals that I found at Costco. They don't always have them in stock, but they're like over in the section like in the middle where they have like books and stuff and like movies, and sometimes they just have like packs of like 3 of these journals. I just find them to be like really like durable, and I also just like the size of them. I think they're called like letterbox journals, or like it says that the website that they're at is spiceboxbooks.com. I can try to find a link and like put it down below if I can find it. But yeah, I find them at Costco usually, so if you're interested you can try that out. I've also noticed that a few of my journals that I have are Ecolo journals. I'm pretty sure my current journal is an Ecolo. Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either, but you can see that Ecolo. I think that this journal and like this black journal was Ecolo and stuff, and I mean, I like that. They feel very, you know, sturdy and stuff. I like them. I don't know if I have a favorite journal yet. I also get journals at like Walmart or Target. I know a lot of bookstores also have journals, so like, you know, Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or wherever, like local bookstores. But yeah, I definitely don't have a favorite. Still trying to find it. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, comment down below if there are any questions that you guys still have, and I will eventually get to them in a future journaling Q&A. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I love each and every one of you. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!